esta es la parte 2 del tema 8.3, las comparaciones. So, as I was explaining in the first video, we do have comparisons that address something of better quality or lesser quality, but also we have comparisons of equality. In that case, we are going to use the construction tan como en español, or we are going to use the words tanto or tanta como, tantos or tantas como. So this tan como, this expression, it is going to be exclusive for adjectives or adverbs whenever you want to describe a noun with an adjective, or whenever you want to describe a verb or an action with an adverb, okay? So you can say something like, mi gato es tan bonito como mi perro. My cat is as beautiful, as pretty as my dog. Or yo estudio tan rápido, or yo hablo tan rápido como ella. I speak as fast as she does. Yo hablo tan rápido como ella. Okay, so in both cases, I'm using in the first one an adjective, in the second one an adverb. If we go to this other side, this we are going to use whenever we're talking about nouns, okay? I have as many books as you do, or I eat as many burgers as she does, that kind of stuff. Whenever you want to talk about an amount, or whenever you want to talk about a singular noun or a plural noun. So in this case, they do have to match. If you say, I have as many books as you do, then in that case, since books in Spanish is going to be libros, it is masculine and it is plural. So I'm going to say, yo tengo tantos libros como tú. Tantos libros como tú. I have as many books as you do. Okay? What about saying something singular? For example, money. We don't say monies, right? We say money in the singular form. En español es lo mismo. It is the same. We say the word dinero. Dinero means money. I have as much money as you do. Yo tengo tanto dinero como tú. We don't say dineros. That would be something like monies, and we don't use that word. So we're going to use it in singular. Tanto dinero como tú, right? So that is how we are going to do the comparison of equality. They are also used to provide some emphasis sometimes. And in that case, we are going to use the words tan or tanto, that means so much or as much, and tantos and tantas, that means so many or as many. So in this case, we're going to just pay attention to these examples. So, tu almuerzo es tan grande, your lunch is so big. Comes tantas manzanas, you eat so many apples. Comes tanto, you eat so much. Or preparan tantos platos, they prepare so many dishes. So I hope that at this point you have realized that we are not using the word como because we're not really comparing. We're only using these words to provide the emphasis of how many things we have or how many things we see and that sort of stuff. Comparisons of equality with verbs. Remember that so far we have described we have talked about adjectives and adverbs and nouns, but what happens whenever we want to compare the way that we do things, okay? We are also going to find that comparison of equality along with verbs, and like I previously said, the verb is going to go before the word tanto como. In the previous one that we were discussing the words more or less, than It is also the same situation that they follow the verb. So the verb will go first. Let's look at these two examples. You travel as much as my aunt. Tú viajas tanto como mi tía. So the expression is already there. It is going to stay like that. It will remain. We don't have to move anything. We don't have to adjust anything. We just have to do or to plug in the verb that we are comparing. Ellos hablan tanto como mis hermanas. They talk as much as my sister. Okay? And the conjugations will stay just the way that we know so far. What about I study as much as you do? Yo estudio tanto como tú. Yo estudio tanto como tú. So we are going to have the noun, the subject, we're going to have the verb, and then this expression tanto como. Okay? To provide an idea of something I do as just the way that you do it, or she does it, or he does it, right? Because we're talking about comparisons of equality. So let's look at these examples as well. Sabemos tanto como ustedes. We know as much as you do. Sabemos, we know as much as you do. So we do have the conjugation over here just the way that we know. So far, we are in lesson 8. We have discussed how to conjugate in previous units. If you don't remember, please go back to those conjugations. Another example, no estudio tanto como Felipe. I don't study as much as Felipe. Or you can also say yo no estudio tanto como Felipe. Remember, in here we are not adding nosotros, and over here we're not adding the yo subject, just because in Spanish you can skip that part since the conjugations help us understand the subject we are talking about. We also have some irregular comparisons just the way that we have it in English as well. And let's look at those adjectives and the comparative form. In English we say good. En español decimos bueno o buena. Remember that they will always match the item, the person, the place that we are describing. Malo or mala means bad. Grande means grown or adult. Pequeño means or pequeña means young. In this case, we're focusing on people because grande also means big and pequeño also means small. And joven, young, and viejo or vieja, old. Remember, it will depend if we're talking about a man or a woman. If we want to use these to compare bueno or buena, it is going to turn into mejor. Just like you don't say gooder or we don't say that sort of stuff, we also have an irregular, and it is going to be, that irregular is going to be mejor, better. Malo, we don't say más malo or menos malo. We don't say that. That will be something like badder or, doesn't really sound good. So we're going to say peor, which means worse. Grande, we're going to use mayor. Sometimes if we want to talk about age, we say mayor, older. Pequeño or pequeña, we say menor for younger. Joven, we'll also say menor. And viejo, vieja, we say mayor for the comparison. So we do have comparisons over here. They are some of the irregular ones because, like we are not going to always have the exactly same structure, because we always have a situation that we bump into some of the irregular forms. In any language, we do have irregularities to each rule. Just, wrapping up, we also say that grande and pequeño refer to age sometimes. And for the comparative forms, we do say mayor, just like we explained in the previous chart, And for pequeño or pequeña, we can say menor. This is whenever we relate or whenever we refer to age. However, these adjectives also refer to size, okay? And then grande refers to big and pequeño refers to an item that is small. And whenever we conjugate these or whenever we refer to items, as long as we're not talking about age, we can say más grande or más pequeño or más pequeña. So let's look at two examples over here. Yo soy menor que tú. In this case, we are using menor because we are referring to being younger than some other person. Over here, we can say más pequeño just because the dish cannot be younger, right? We're not describing a person, so in this case, we can say more small. I know that it sounds odd, but that is the literal translation. What I want to say, it is smaller, right? We do have some final examples, like in here, nuestro hijo es mayor que el hijo de los Andrade. Our son is older than the Andrade's son. So in here we do have to refer to age. La ensalada de Isabel es más grande que esa. Isabel's salad is bigger than that one. In here we are not referring to age, so instead of saying mayor, we are going to say just simply más grande. Okay? Now, we also have irregulars for good and bad, like I said before, and this is going to be the comparatives mejor and peor. So just like the way that we don't say more good, we say better, and the way that we don't say more bad or less bad, we are going to say worse in English, right? So the same thing happens with Spanish. Instead of saying más mejor or menos mal or más mal, I don't know, that odd comparison, we're not going to do that, and instead we are going to use the word mejor. Mejor means better, and the word peor means worse. We're not going to do, más bien or más mal or something like menos bien or menos mal. We don't do those comparisons. We are going to simply say mejor or peor, just the way that we say better or worse. And that is all the explanation for the comparisons. This second part was more focused on equality, and remember that we can compare either nouns or items, or the way and form that we do an action. So we do have several options for comparison. The first part of 8.3 is to talk about comparison of inequality, and this second part is for comparisons of equality.